So, third story, and I've been on vacation and traveling and had to wait a couple days to film this one. So, I think it's fitting because this is one that I just really want to get right. I kind of feel like I have to share this one delicately. That's all the prologue we get. On the last one, I talked about the sudden realization that I was the entire world. That there was a connection between me and everything. And in this story, again, no context to the work that I was doing leading up to this. It was a Saturday, a very sunny Saturday, I believe at the beginning of August last year. And I was walking through this park, this really big, lovely park. And I suddenly just felt this very direct connection to whatever our ultimate source is. We can use the word God if you want to. This felt very much sort of like the God realization that people have written about. I don't know what you want to call it. I think source is pretty inarguable. I think everybody can agree that we have some kind of a source from which everything has sprung. Whether you want to think that it's some person, some big powerful person in a book, or you want to think that it's just some scientific phenomenon. It became so clear to me. Like I said last time, it became so obvious to me that we were all of the same source. Everything and everyone. And I just felt an encounter with this source. And I was walking around, just looking at all the grass and the trees and, everything that's in a park on this beautiful sunny day. And it was just so obvious to me that, not just obvious to me that we were connected on some sort of physical plane like the last time. It was more we were the same in essence. It was all of the same. And of course, walking past people were just so beautiful to see. Just doing whatever normal people things they were doing. Just being exactly the way that they are. And I was wearing sunglasses so people couldn't really see, but I was starting to tear up, and people could see my mouth was starting to open up, and I was trying to keep it closed because I just wanted to sit there and just gasp at everything that obviously I had seen a bajillion times. I had seen people in trees and grass before, but I hadn't really felt it. I hadn't really felt these experiences of living before. And I was looking up at the sun coming down on everything, and it's not like I was thinking that the sun was this God, this supreme source, but it was a very symbolic, it was a representation of just how this source, I keep going back and forth between whether or not I want to say God or source. But this powerful creator was acting not just on us, but acting through us. I'd always thought of, even if there is some kind of a God, it's one that put us here in the past, and then just let us do whatever we were doing. And right now I was feeling that it was all God acting through anything and everything and all of us, constantly. And it felt, ironically, the place where this awakening falls short of being a full realization is exactly the part of it that sounds the most rational, which is that I felt a distinct separation between me and this source. I felt the mighty grandness of whatever this God was that was formulating this experience. Because how the heck could I be that? My teacher told me it's very common at this place for people to be very devoted to some form of a deity. They're enlightened people who specifically hold some version of God that they're very reverent and pious toward. I'm not saying that every single religious person is awakened, but there is a big tendency among awakened people at a certain point to have some sort of other. That's the best way of saying it, is that there is a God and there has to be a separation between me and this thing. And it's from a very humble, a place of humility. Because it's like, I worship you. You're so much grander than this little me right here. But that's also where it becomes incomplete. Because that's not ultimate oneness. To see yourself as any separate from this source. I'm trying to walk this tricky tightrope of making sure I don't say something that's outside of my scope or understanding. So I'll just get back to the experience. At this time of even having created this high power, in my mind, of even realizing that there was some kind of ultimate source. Yeah, it was just the most beautiful experience. And I was happy for everything and everyone. To have even gotten the grace of God in order to even exist in the first place. It was also around this time that I had really realized the need for me to have some kind of a physical deity that I could, look upon and just give regular thanks to. Whether or not it was that I really truly believed that this picture or whatever it was illustrating was actually what God looks like. I mean, I don't think that there is any way that you can actually confine God to one single small image. But in this moment, walking around this park, seeing the beauty of all God had created and feeling the beauty of what God was allowing through me, I realized it might be kind of important for me to give some kind of regular thanks. And so I did just that. And I have an illustration. I'm not going to say what it is right now, but I have an illustration on my computer at work that I just regularly, whenever I glance at, I just say, thank you, God. There isn't any room for my old cynicism regarding these kinds of things. I think I've known that for a long time. And there's definitely some ego sacrifice that needed to take place in order for me to get less jaded about the idea. And what did it take? It took an experience like this. I want to think of some fun, quirky way to wrap up this one, but there just isn't any way to. This was just a really profound one for me. And I can still feel it every time that every time that I really look for it for even just a moment. Anyway, we'll wrap it up in the next one. Take care.